Hey everybody, we're taking a look at a Sphinx SDP. This is one of my carry guns, and this is my option for when I need a double stack. I was reading recently a newspaper article about a series of gang rapes in Detroit, Michigan, and it really got me thinking about my carry piece. Normally my carry gun is a Smith & Wesson Shield. It carries 9+1 capacity, 10 rounds of 9mm. Which is not the most effective round in the world. I mean, let's be honest, 9mm is not a 357 SIG, it's not a 10mm auto, it's not even a 45 ACP. It's not the most effective round. There are a multitude of reasons why you'd want something a little bit more efficacious, and in this case, it really got me thinking when I was reading about the specifics of these rapes, that I really need to carry more rounds. This gun here carries 15+1, that's its capacity, so 16 rounds, which I think is enough. A double stack handgun is going to get you through most encounters, but in this case, both of these incidents in Detroit, Michigan were actually 6 black guys who basically gang raped 2 girls, a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old, and they basically caught 2 couples and herded them into alleys, then stripped down the boyfriends and made them watch these brutal rapes. And it occurred to me that, like I said, I carry a 9+1 handgun. I don't have enough capacity. I just don't. One shot stops are not enough. You know, you're not going to get enough capacity there, because you statistically are going to need 2 or 3 rounds of 9mm to put down an assailant. And yeah, I understand that you could basically, by actually drawing the gun and using it, you might be able to get the guys to run off, and then you would basically have successfully defended yourself. But in my opinion, it's better to have enough rounds to finish that fight. And so this has been a carry piece that I've started carrying over the past couple days. Why did I choose this over some other options? The default, I think, when it comes to 15+1 capacity handguns is the Glock 19. And I think the Glock is a great gun. Don't get me wrong, I've done videos in the past with the Smith & Wesson Shield. I think it's a much better gun than the Glock 43, but I think the Glock 19 still is a very relevant gun. It's a fantastic pistol, very size and weight efficient. They're also not super expensive either. And when you get into these larger, compact, and full-size handguns, they get a little bit more pricey. In this case, though, I think that the SDP offers a couple things over the Glock that maybe you might want to look at. Now, first off, I do carry this, and I just want to kind of touch on the carry system because it's important here. I carry this in a G-Code Incog Eclipse. This is the holster setup I've got for it. Notice I got a Wolf Gray pistol. I've also got a Wolf Gray holster. This actually has got a little bit of a red accent on it. I think it's a really cool holster, but moreover, this thing carries deep. It carries close to my belt line, and because of that, this gun actually conceals remarkably well. That Incog holster is invaluable. You want to get a really good holster system when you're going to carry a compact handgun or something that's a little bit larger. Subcompacts, it doesn't matter so much. You can have kind of a crummier holster and still get away with carrying that gun because they conceal so well. But in the case when you have larger guns like this, you kind of need to make sure that you have a good holster system that's capable of concealing this. Now, that said, you have 15+1 capacity. The magazines are very high quality. I suspect they're made by Metgar in Italy. They are a little expensive, but they work great. I load mine with 147 grain HST plus Ps. That's the most effective round that I could find on the 9mm side. I know there's some really great rounds out there, but the HST 147 plus P is a killer. It's a fantastic round. Don't get me wrong, there are some other good rounds, but that's the one I've chosen. This gun's hammer fired. It's big for me. I like hammer-fired guns over striker-fired guns because it gives me second strike capability. It means that if I do have a misfire, hang fire, heavy primer, something like that, that doesn't actually go off on the first shot, I can get a second round off without having to rack the gun again. I think in a fight, that makes a lot of sense. And because of that, I think that this gun has the potential to be a little bit more reliable than a Glock. Now, I've seen people take these through high-volume shooting classes, and in my opinion, they're just as reliable as any other gun. Now, hammer-fired guns do have a hammer, and that can be hung up, but in my opinion, the SDP is still a very, very reliable gun. Beyond that, I shoot this gun really, really well. This gun's extremely accurate. It's got a match grade polygon rifle barrel on it that's just a fantastic quality barrel. I can't say enough about the accuracy of the SDP. The sights are pretty good. Now, they don't have any kind of provision for manipulating the gun using the rear sight. Because this is a CZ or a SIG P210 type design, the slide actually rides within the frame, so there's not a whole lot of slide to manipulate. It's one knock I have against the gun. As far as manipulation of the pistol, it's a little bit lacking. That said, the rear sight's great. It's a serrated, blacked out rear notch with a very bright bucket and ball type sight picture. It works great. It's very fast to acquire, and I find that this gun is very, very quick into action. Now, the double action trigger still leaves a little bit to be desired. It's a little too heavy and it's got a little bit too much over travel. That said, the single action trigger is utterly fantastic. The gun's rate of fire, I think, outpaces a Glock. That's really important. You want to be able to put quick rounds in succession on target. And in my opinion, that makes a whole lot of difference. Now, the pistol actually does have a decocking mode. That's a really good thing. It does not carry cocked and locked like some other CZ designs. It's just a decocker like a SIG. The ergonomics are fantastic. The controls are sharp, but not offensively sharp. They're very easy to manipulate. The magazine release is in the right spot. You don't have to shift your grip for that. Has a winter trigger guard, very easy to use. An aluminum 1913 spec rail. And all the parts in this gun are extremely tightly fit, very, very nicely done. The Sphinx SDP's quality overall, I think, is miles above a Glock. And that's not to say that Glocks are bad. They're really good, but this is an absolutely superb, utterly top-notch pistol. So, long story short, I think that the SDP fills a niche that the Glock 19 doesn't. It's just a higher-end carry pistol. Now, is it going to put rounds on target quicker and more accurately? Potentially. But I want to get every advantage, even as minor as it is in a fight, and that's part of the reason why I carry this gun over a Glock 19. There are, of course, other options. You could go with a CZ design, you could go with a SIG or something like that, but I think that the bore axis is very low on the SDP. It feels very, very good in the hand. This grip is extremely ergonomic. Overall, the pistol is just a joy to shoot and carry. The overall dynamics of firing the pistol are really, really good. It has very little recoil, very little muzzle flip. Overall, the accuracy and the way that it shoots, I think, well make it worth the cost. And these are not inexpensive pistols, but this gun works so well that I think it justifies itself. So that's my review of the Sphinx SDP. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and as always, I really appreciate you watching. Illegitimi non carborundum.